Panic and despair in Provo. It was amazing yesterday to see the out-and-out panic and despair. Yesterday in Provo over all of these Kalani Sitake leaving BYU rumors.
This is a code 10 abort.
Well, now I have to tell you they're more than rumors. And I think we've been pretty, not to pat ourselves on the back, but we've been pretty spot on about the Kalani Sitake contract situation at BYU. And straight up, the situation is he signed an extension last fall. A couple of months ago. When I say last fall, I mean I believe it was in August. But that has not precluded him from being one of the top candidates for pretty much every major opening, especially in the Pac-12, and interviewing with Washington and now Oregon. And some BYU fans, and I think a lot of BYU fans, were shocked to hear that Kalani had talked to Oregon yesterday. And it is a little surprising, and the thing that should stand out to you is it's a change in the mode of operation for Kalani Sitake, because he had very much sent the message that I'm not really open for business right now because I'm focused on football. And once football's over, once the bowl game's over, we do our exit interviews, we wrap up the season, then I'm willing to talk to people about their openings. Well, then all of a sudden, I think he saw that guys like Lincoln Riley were getting to USC. And Kalani Sitake had, I think, wanted to talk to USC. And when Washington came calling, Kalani Sitake listened. And when BYU continued to drag their feet in this contract situation, all of a sudden Mario Cristobal went to Miami, and who's the first person that Oregon called?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was Kalani Sitake. Now, he's not the only one, and there's nothing that should indicate to any of us that he's close to taking that job. But I was told yesterday by people at BYU that they were taken aback that he was going to talk to Oregon, because Oregon called and asked permission, and it was granted as you would expect that it would be. And Kalani took the phone call. And I think that set some alarm bells off at BYU. But the situation is that BYU are dragging their feet on this contract situation with Kalani. And there is a palatable sense of urgency amongst the administration now to get this thing done. And yet I sit here and I wonder, why is it not done yet? Why are we still sitting here on Thursday, December 9th, without a reworking and an addendum to Kalani Sitake's contract, Jake? And I just don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, this is not the first time we've seen this in the state of Utah. Yesterday on the show that we, brought back up the Gordon Hayward situation and how the Jazz handled that. And this BYU Kalani situation reeks of those same, handlings. I think that you can never assume that someone who is really good at what they do is not going to consider opportunities. It is the age-old dynamic when you're being hunted, if you will. Hey, someone wants me to be their head coach. Am I really not at least going to talk to them? Am I really not at least going to hear them out and understand what they're actually offering? And then, of course, we get to, what are they offering? And so all of a sudden it goes from, hey, I'm not talking to anybody, we're good here at BYU, to, yeah, I'm talking to Oregon and I'm talking to Washington, and, there's conversations being had. And it's amazing. I just want to point out, yesterday on the show, we were talking about how, he hadn't, quite yet been, having these conversations, and it changes very quickly. And I think and again, this is just based on what I see happening. There's nobody that's said this to us about Kalani, but if I was Kalani and I was in this situation and I was trying to get my contract situation, smoothed out and taken care of and handled with BYU, and it was taking this long, I would probably be frustrated over whatever it is that BYU wants as well. Like if you're Kalani Sitake, you're coveted. You know that you could take any one of these jobs and be successful, but you also know that you have a good thing going at BYU. So it's frustrating that it's taken this long to get something done. And on the BYU side of this thing, I just don't understand it. I don't understand how you're being stubborn about anything in this negotiation. I don't understand how you're taking risk here, because that's essentially what you're doing. You're not in a position to lose Kalani Sitake. You're not in a position to try to go out and find another head coach to replace one of the best you've ever had. And my point with that is just, again, just like I said yesterday, you're heading into the Big 12 in a couple seasons here. This is hardly the time to have head coaching issues, because once Kalani's gone, if that were to happen, assistants are going with. So you're going to have to replace that whole thing. Good luck with that. That's going to be really tough. And then obviously it goes without saying that your recruiting is going to get messed up, and you're just going to get set back like 5 years.
Yeah, you cannot. It would be catastrophic. Don't die, Jake.
Yeah, I mean it's yeah,
Don't die.
it's early,
It is early. It would be catastrophic. And I think if you look at it, the questions that surround Kalani Sitake having these conversations, I think one of the main ones is, hey, is Oregon a better job than BYU? Well, going into the Big 12, I don't know that I can say that Oregon's a better job than BYU. I think when you look at, the many facets and the complexities of being the head football coach at BYU, whether that's the church, the honor code, recruiting with those two things, just knowing straight away that you don't have access to the top recruits, or certainly as many recruits as the top programs in the country, just based on the church and the honor code, sure. But that's not what Kalani Sitake's ever been about. Kalani Sitake has openly often said BYU is his dream job. It's the only job he's ever wanted. His love and affection and admiration for Lavelle Edwards, his history at BYU. But then why is he talking to Oregon? Well, here's why he's talking to Oregon. Because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Yeah. If the phone rings and it's Phil Knight saying, hey, here's a bag of money and Jordans for a lifetime, why don't you come to Eugene? You're going to take that phone call.
By the way, did anybody see yesterday, came out on Oregon's Twitter, that they're, renovating all their facilities, and they've got a whole plan to basically, just refresh the entire athletic situation there. Facilities, stadium, like the whole thing. They're pouring money into the program. So I don't know, man. I just think this is one of those situations where, and I know this is cold-blooded to say, but we wouldn't have to talk about this if this was done. That's what I find myself feeling. Hey, we wouldn't have to be sitting here discussing the possibility, however small it may be, the possibility of Kalani Sitake wearing green or wearing purple, if this was done. And it would be, to me, it would be a real shame if he were to leave, because I think he's built something special at BYU. I think he's done some amazing work, man.
No. Call it what it is. If Kalani Sitake leaves BYU, it's a catastrophe. It is a tragedy. It is, in my opinion, an unforgivable misstep by upper management at BYU. That's as plain and simple as I can put it. If Kalani Sitake leaves BYU, it will not be his fault. He will not be a villain. Kalani Sitake belongs at BYU for the rest of his coaching career. He should be paid as one of the top coaches in the country. His assistants should be paid, and there should be a significant buyout added to his contract. But he should be the head coach at BYU. If he leaves BYU, it will be not by his own doing. Make that very clear. This is not a question. That if Kalani Sitake walks away from BYU, it will be because BYU didn't do what it needed to do to keep the man who is the only coach in the country that should coach BYU for the next decade at a minimum. BYU did not do what it needed to do to keep Kalani Sitake in Provo. He is loyal, he is fierce, he is proud, and he wants to be the head coach at BYU. I have heard nothing to the contrary. I have seen nothing to the contrary. And that includes him interviewing with Oregon. That to me means nothing that his loyalty is shaken or you're going to take the phone call. But Tom Holmoe's done what he can do. This is over his head. This needs to get done, and it needs to get done now. And if you don't think that, because we always hear this, oh, you guys don't have sources, you're a hack. Okay, well, I told you 3.5 weeks ago that they were working on a deal for Kalani Sitake to rework his new contract, to add offset buyout language, to add more money to his assistants pool so that they were paid more and they had more stability. We told you that 3.5 weeks ago. Why hasn't it been done? I don't know why it hasn't been done. And it's a mistake that it hasn't been done, but it's got to get done. But the other thing that I want to make very clear, I have no reason to believe, and I talk to people at BYU on a daily basis, I have no reason to believe that Kalani Sitake is leaving BYU. But now the door's open. And if talking to Oregon, which has caused very clearly BYU media to melt down, which is remarkable to me, but has caused BYU media, BYU fans to melt down, BYU Twitter to melt down. If you're melting down over him talking to Oregon, just reevaluate yourself. You probably should get on some meds. He's going to talk to Oregon because it creates an opening. It creates more leverage. He's in demand. The sad thing is he likely had to do that to get BYU to move, which is really frustrating to me. And while I don't believe that Kalani Sitake is underpaid, I don't believe he's underpaid. From what I understand, he makes $2.4 million a year right now. If, in fact, that's the right number, if that's accurate, let's just say he makes $2 million. He's not underpaid.
Yeah.
He's not. He's not Nick Saban. He's not Urban Meyer. He's not one of the greatest coaches in the history of college football. He's had 2 really good years at BYU. He is a big part of the reason that they are going to the Big 12. Okay. He's a head coaching candidate for just about every major job. BYU needs to up the ante now. That's as simple as it is. That's where we are.
Yeah.
But I want to make it very clear. If he leaves, and I don't think he will, if he leaves, it's not his fault. It's BYU's fault. Plain and simple.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think it's this is not anything new in sports. You know, while you were just talking there, I was thinking about other situations and contracts and players and like this is the conversation we always have with players or coaches or managers or whatever in their relationship with upper management. And it is a unique situation being that it is college athletics, because obviously it's not just like an owner of a team and the player, but
That's
right.
Right.
It's a little different. But at the same time, like you can't tell me that this couldn't have been done already. And this is where I'm just kind of like, it gets kind of almost in a sense like tiring, It's like, how hard can it be to work out buyout language? How hard is it? Like how hard is it if you're BYU to come to the middle on something, like we shouldn't be here.
But there's something else though. And I think this is really significant. BYU's not special or unique. And BYU fans, I know this is probably going to piss you off, but you need to come around to the idea that BYU is no different than any other university. When it comes to the business of sports, BYU is no different. Kalani Sitake and his relationship with BYU, okay, that's a little bit different. It's not unlike Mario Cristobal at Miami, right? But I think there's this belief that Kalani would never leave us. He would let's just, like if one more fool says, let's just tithe more. Do you understand that he would leave? And the people vilifying Kalani for taking these interviews, your head's in the sand if you believe that Kalani would never leave and this is a special place. Well, when it comes to money and contracts and big time sports, it's not different. It's not unique. It's not special. It's not. And I'm sorry if that hurts your feelings or if that stings. It's no different than any other major athletic department in the country. In fact, it's more difficult to succeed at BYU than most other major athletic departments in the country. You got to get over this thing that BYU is wholesome and different and unique, because it's not. It's not. He would leave. He should be taking these phone calls. It's not his fault that BYU is not doing what needs to be done to get done what needs to get done. That's not Kalani's fault.
Yeah.
So for everybody vilifying him and calling him selfish and, oh, he just got a contract extension, what more does he want? Okay, well, he wants what everybody wants. He wants exactly what's coming to him. Nobody in modern BYU football history, including Bronco Mendenhall, has had this kind of success. And you're going into the Big 12. Did you think it was going to be cheap to go to the Big 12? Did you never think about the financial repercussions of going into the Big 12? Because they're significant.
Yeah.
They are significant. You will pay into that conference. You will pay a larger slice of your revenue into that conference.
Is it not worth it?
I think it is worth it.
100%.
But it costs you more to hire coaches. And this is the other thing that I would say about this Kalani situation. Who are you going to replace him with? And this is the thing that I don't understand about where BYU management is at.
Yeah.
How much is it going to cost you to replace Kalani Sitake?
Hell of a lot more than it's going to cost you to keep him.
Well, and the other thing is, let's say you just find some bro to replace him, right? No matter who it winds up being. How is that going to impact your recruiting? It's going to be devastating for a couple of years. What does that mean to you? Well, that means that when you get into the Big 12, you're not going to be able to win. Because we already know from independence to the Big 12 is a steep climb, right? That's a fact.
Yeah.
We already know that Kalani is recruiting at a very high level, dominating the state of Utah right now. He is proven he can go to every corner of this country and get talent to come to BYU. He can go to the islands and get big bros to come and play at BYU.
Yep.
He can do that. Like, he has been able to work. Do you realize, I think what number was it the other day? 37 BYU players are married.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And they're taking all of their wives to the bowl game.
Mm-hmm.
How many other schools have to even deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. There's no question that he's the guy for the job. That's why I'm just so surprised that this isn't done. I think it is, it's borderline, in my opinion, it's borderline foolishness out of the management of BYU. Like I just can't wrap my head around the idea that you're so stuck on how much the buyout's going to be that this isn't done yet.
Yeah.
Like, that to me is just foolish. I don't understand why you would have the mindset of, yes, we have to have X number for the buyout in order to get this done.
But when has, and this is one of the things that makes it difficult at BYU, when has the church ever done anything quickly?
Yeah, I guess.
They haven't.
I'm tired of hearing about the church. I'm tired of hearing about it.
But I mean, that might be true, but it is what it is. It is what it is.
Then
right?
But then if we're gonna say that, and I don't disagree with what you're saying, but if we're gonna say it is what it is about how they operate, well, then it is what it is when he signs with Oregon, right? That's what we're gonna say. That's the frustrating and unfortunate part about the way business is handled and done, at BYU. And I feel like by this state, I feel like this isn't the first time this kind of situation has come up. And I know the Jazz have changed their front office leadership, and I know they're going through things, but I just want a team in this state to do what it takes to win at the highest level. I'm tired of hearing about, the Jazz are strapped, with money and they don't have picks, and they can't get the job done. And so 3 years from now, when we're doing this show, we're going to be talking about Don being a Knick, when we should be talking about Don being a 2-time champion with the Utah Jazz. Like at some point, I want a team to do what it takes.
And I think the church is a little different. I think, and that's why the tithing comment is so frustrating, because you can't, and I don't know the inner workings of, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I don't. But from what I understand, the church does not fund BYU athletics.
Yeah.
They don't. It's not like they're like, oh, well, okay, well, Breland and Dallin gave an extra $20 earmarked for the football program. It doesn't work that way.
No.
Does not work that way. You can't fill your envelope a little more. You can't scratch that check with a few more zeros. It doesn't work that way. So BYU is just, in my opinion, behind the times. And I think the hardest part for BYU fans is you're going to vilify Kalani the way you vilified Bronco when he left.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to be, oh my God, I can't believe he would leave. Well, he left. And if you don't think that Kalani would leave too, I think you're crazy.
Yeah.
You know, like I just don't. All right, let's get some comments in here because I see many of you. Gabe Ledley, what's up, my guy? Good to see you, buddy. The Nye Guy says, morning, fellas. What's up? Hawkins says, morning, all. Brylark says, good morning, boys. Brylark, good to see you, friend. Tay Skywalker says, Sataki to Oregon. I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't. I really, really don't. Neville93 says, good morning and Merry Christmas, you filthy animals.
You too, bud.
Good to see you. We all know the church has plenty of money to pay him too.
Yeah.
But again, it's not the church. I'm telling you, it's not the, and this is what happens at BYU. Inevitably, it's, oh, well, the church is cheap. But it's a football program. It's not the head of the LDS church being like, oh, well, we'll replace Kalani with,
but
the stake president in Bountiful.
But I think the issue for people is that it obviously is a church-based program.
His
right?
Pop Warner team is amazing.
It's obviously a church-based program.
But it's not. It's not. It's a church-based, it's a faith-based institution. BYU is wholly owned by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Yes.
Right? The Mormon Church owns BYU.
They own that thing.
That does not mean the apostles are making a decision on Kalani Sitake.
Right, but the point is that we all know for a fact that the church isn't hurting for money. So what fans are doing is they're saying, okay, well, if we have all this money, why are we worrying about buyout language? That's what fans are doing. And I get what you're saying. Hey, it's not the church, like officials in the church making decisions on the football program. But I have to kind of agree with the sentiment that why is BYU penny pinching on buyout language with Kalani Sitake when there's not another Kalani Sitake out there for them to go and get? That's what I think the sentiment is.
Because I think the folks making this decision in Provo don't believe that Kalani will leave.
And my opinion is that is a very dangerous game to play.
I totally
very
agree.
Dangerous game to play.
I totally agree. Brylark says, we all know the church has plenty of money to pay him. Austin Lewis says, Holmo has done a great job so far. Don't mess this one up, man. But from what I'm told, it's over Tom Holmo's head.
Yeah.
Tom has done what he can do. Tom has made it very clear that Kalani's his guy and that he is willing to do what he has to do to keep Kalani as the head coach.
I think Tom and Kalani have a great relationship.
And there's been a lot of questions about that, and I have asked that specific question to the people at BYU that I know, and roundly everybody says they get along just fine, swimmingly.
Yeah, this to me, based on what we're hearing, based on what your people tell you, in the actions we're seeing and everything, this to me seems like a very straightforward thing. Kalani and Tom Holmo have a good relationship, mainly because this is not in Tom's hands. This is above him, and that I think is what is frustrating about this whole thing. Because you got to remember, it's not like Kalani's on his phone all day talking to the people at BYU. Remember that.
No.
It is Kalani's agent talking to the people at BYU, handling this situation, and Kalani probably gets a couple updates a day. And so if you're Kalani, you're sitting here, your agent's telling you, hey, Oregon wants to talk, hey, we're trying to work out this thing with BYU. So you're basically in the same seat as we are in the sense that you're just waiting. You're waiting for an answer. You're waiting for BYU to say, hey, here we go. We can agree on this.
But the issue also is, think about how this is playing out in the football offices at BYU.
Oh, man.
I mean, you have family and very close-knit friendships on that staff. They're all talking about it, too. Their families are talking about, hey, we going to Oregon? Hey, man, we going to be ducks? We duck hunting? We got to put on those paint splatter uniforms?
We going to get some Nikes?
We going to get some Nikes? We going to Phil Knight's house? I mean, those conversations are happening.
And then on the other side of that, there's also, I'm sure, people in that program who work for Kalani who don't want to go to Oregon, who want to stay at BYU. And so that's why I say, for Kalani, it has to be a difficult situation.
It is.
And that's why, to go back to what you were saying, vilifying Kalani is just not the way to go here, because you got to understand, this is a business dealing. It's
That's
not
right.
like Kalani's just out here trying to blow
That's
up the
right.
program, you know?
I want to make this very clear.
Yeah.
I don't think he's leaving.
It would be shocking.
I think it will get done.
Yeah.
But I'll be repetitive and say it again. If Kalani Sitake isn't the head football coach at BYU in 2 weeks, that's BYU's fault. I don't want to hear a single voice criticizing Kalani Sitake. I don't want to hear anybody saying, "Oh, he's a sinner." I saw that yesterday.
Check yourself.
Yeah, I saw that yesterday on Twitter. If he takes that money, if he runs for the money, he's a sinner. He's no good anyway. Okay. Well, he may be no good then, and he may be a sinner, but Oregon's going to win a bunch of football games.
Yeah.
Right? Exactly, Greg Hawkins. Church money greater than Nike money? Probably. But Phil Knight's a lot more, available. His purse strings are a lot looser than the church is.
Seriously.
Right?
This had been done.
Hey, look, Kalani. Hey, Kalani, it's Phil Knight. Look, I'm going to toss you $3 million, $4 million bucks, and guarantee you we're going to drop a case of Air Jordans on your stoop every other week. And
I would.
you know what? We'll put it on your we'll put it on your assistant coach's stoops too. What about a new headband? I got a great visor package coming. They're gonna throw everything at
The
anybody
kitchen sink, dude.
that they want to hire. BYU will not. So we'll see. And by the way, it should be said, leverage is with BYU because he's already there, and it's a pain in the ass to move.
I could make a case that it's not.
I think it is difficult to move.
I think I can make a case that it's not.
Okay. Carbon Beach says the fact the Y hasn't renovated LES is an Lavelle Edwards Stadium. Yet is an indicative of the disconnect between admin and the team. Could you renovate Lavelle Edwards Stadium? Sure, you could.
You could find a way to renovate anything.
It's a great place to play football.
Yeah.
And the Rock is unbelievable. Anyway, Brylark says, in any professional situation, you always take the meeting. Yes,
Yeah.
you do. Even if you know you're going to stay, you owe it to yourself to explore every opportunity, regardless of the chance that it will happen. You're exactly right.
Exactly.
Greasy Hands Auto Sean Butterfield.
Uh,
You're just Greasy Hands. Greasy Hands says, good day. Chris Hill drug his feet and Kalani left Utah. He's a man of action. Well, that's true.
Hey, man, that's
That
a
is
great
true.
point, dude.
How'd that work out at Oregon State?
Y'all want to play.
Yeah, man.
Greg Hawkins, if the church really wanted BYU to win, they drastically increase the budget, go Alabama level money, and hire a top coach, even if he's not Mormon.
This is Coach Saban.
But see, this goes back to the age-old conversation, and I don't think it's a conversation. Winning at BYU is not first.
Yeah,
it's
football's
not the
fifth.
priority. Yeah, it's not the priority. Exactly right. It's not the priority. Money's not the priority. Spreading the word of Jesus Christ and adding to the membership rules of the church is the priority. Always has been, always will be. And to me, that's why you don't compromise the honor code to recruit better. To me, that's why you don't, go Alabama level money. You don't need to do that.
And so this is why I say when you were saying, hey, the leverage is with BYU, I think the leverage is with Kalani here, because at some point, BYU needs to understand that Kalani Sitake is 100% without a doubt the best guy for the job. He's fine with all of that. Like where are you going to go and find another guy to do what Kalani does at the level Kalani does it at BYU?
And he has a Temple recommend.
Where
Those
are
guys
you going to find him,
Those
dude?
guys don't grow on trees or
Get the
pop out
damn
of
thing
wombs.
done,
Yeah.
bro. Get it done.
Yeah, you should get it done. I don't know that this is your real name, sir. Jizoint Man 1.
I'm for real.
Morning Studs. What's up, Jizoint Man? Casey Finlinson. Here's a guy that knows a thing or two about the church and BYU.
Yes.
Comment dump.
Roll on up.
The church gives no money to the athletic department. Also, as an employee of said university, all things and decisions take a lot of time to get done. Correct. He also says employees at BYU understand that things like salaries do not move fast. It's been like this throughout the university forever. Everyone else sees it different. Tithing does not go towards salaries. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I was right about that. BYU Athletics does not upgrade or spend any money unless they have a total amount due in hand before they do anything. Well, and I think a lot of universities are like that. It's called an endowment. And a lot of football coaches are paid through endowments. So I want to say at USC, I'm pretty sure USC's salary is an endowment. Like, if you look at, I could be wrong about this. I think if you look at Lincoln Riley on Twitter, I actually am pretty sure that his name is in the endowment. It's not. I lied. I'm a terrible person. Anyways.
So get your facts straight.
But there are a lot of universities where you'll see it's the Fred and Stan Drescher University of Dick Blow head coach.
You are fake.
Like, you'll see that there's like an actual family that pays the salary of the head coach at a university. And it happens at all major universities. Like Oklahoma State, T. Boone Pickens, or, I mean, pick the Rice Eccles Stadium.
Yeah.
It's named after the Eccles. Like, I mean, that's how things get done at universities, is usually through endowments. So yeah, Casey, I think you're right on. Snuka says, if all my tithes would go BYU football, I'd pay more. Sorry, not sorry, Lord.
Hey.
Jesus is a Notre Dame fan for a reason.
I really don't care if you think it's sus.
The Night Guy says, who here would not take a meeting for another employer with an opportunity to get more money?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
I would. Norge Coog says, Kalani is not Oregon's first choice. Their fan base would be very underwhelmed if he becomes a head coach at Oregon. Totally disagree with that. Is he their first choice? I have no idea. I cannot tell you. I think it was two or three radio stations asked me to do an interview yesterday to talk about him. If you read my Twitter feed, you see all the Oregon fans coming in. My friends that are Oregon fans are wildly excited about him. Because when you look at their other said coaching candidates, like I think Justin Wilcox is the other guy that they're talking to at Cal. He's never won anything.
Yeah.
If you don't believe that Oregon fans are excited about Kalani Sitake, you're crazy.
Bro,
at USC, I know probably 100 USC fans that the USC people I talked to were absolutely excited about having Kalani Sitake as their head coach.
A poly head coach at Oregon would be highly successful.
God. Yeah, absolutely. Bradlark says, the vilifying of people deciding to leave any Utah sport is Utah culture. Remember Gordon Hayward?
Yes, we do. Dude.
Larry Pilgrim says, boosters can make up salary gaps in budgets and often do. They do. Maury Alvarez says, even Lavelle interviewed with other teams. Pay the man and his staff, exactly.
Yeah.
The complications at BYU are not good reasons to stay if offered more money elsewhere, correct? I would agree with that 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Greg Hawkins says the reason the church is cheap on BYU is because BYU is part of the church educational system, while the money is all in the Deseret Management Corporation. Can't mix two since they are a church. Correct. Yeah, there are. Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, but X, Y, and Z equals get the damn thing done.
Yeah. Can we get more Phil Knight impersonations? That shiz was hilarious. I'm sure it'll happen. Bradlark says, always remember, anything can be negotiated.
Yes.
Hey, Kalani, all your kids and your grandkids will have their entire tuition paid for at Oregon.
I'm for real.
Cool. Where do I sign? Hey, Kalani, it's Phil Knight. By the way, I know I told you I was going to drop some Jordans, but we're going to do that, and there'll be a little envelope in the box, too, that's a check for your kids' tuition.
Thanks.
So go ahead and sport those Nikes. All right, go Ducks. Like, he shows up, and the first thing they give him is, hey, Kalani, I'm Joe Dickblow, the president of Oregon. Nice to meet you.
What's up, motherfuckers?
I believe that's a direct quote from Kalani. Hey, Kalani, I'm Joe Dickblow, president in Oregon.
What's up, motherfuckers?
Nice to meet you. I'm sorry? What did you say?
What's up, motherfuckers?
Yeah. And then Phil Knight comes in. He's like, all right, here's your custom duck collar. You know, like.
Wow.
Anyway.
Wow.
Just tuning in, but we would literally lose all of our recent recruits. Kalani leaving would be fatal to the program. George Rojas says, yeah, I agree. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, man.
More Phil Knight right now, please. No, you can't. Okay, there's your filter. You can't curse in the comments and have YouTube not filter you, because they will. The Nye guy says Jake is on point with the drops today.
I'm trying, man.
Pretty rare.
I know. Yeah, I'm trying.
Casey says 2 completely separate budgets for the athletic department and education. Yeah, and it is self-funded. Yeah, I mean, BYU, that's why I said BYU's not unlike many universities. I mean, it takes a lot to be elite. And the BYU athletic department right now is operating at a very high level. Just about every team is at the top of the table. So, anyway, I feel
Man,
better.
I hope we never have to talk about him wearing green.
I'm telling you, if Kalani Sitake leaves BYU, it's not his fault.
I really hope it never happens,
And
man.
he is not a villain.
I agree.
He is not a villain.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
Oregon a better job than BYU?
I think,
I don't think it is.
I think here's my trouble. Here's where I think Oregon might have a slight edge. I think that not that it's negative, but the baggage that comes with being the head coach at BYU, all the things you got to deal with, that's what I think really, if you're anybody except Kalani, you're going to look at these two situations and you're going to say, okay, heading into a new conference, there's some things I got to abide by as the head coach. Like, there's things I got to do at BYU that I don't have to do at Oregon. By the way, Oregon is the cool hipster school that's got the Nike money and Phil Knight, and it's going to have the new campus.
Hey, Kalani, it's Phil Knight.
Yeah, hey, it's Phil Knight. How you doing? I just think that I don't know. I am bewildered. That's a lot. I know we gotta move on, but I am just shocked. I can't get down with the idea of, oh, well, it's BYU, so things move slow. Well, what does that even mean, dude? Are we gonna say, well, it's BYU, things move slow, so we're okay losing Kalani? Like, what do you mean things move slow? Like, get with the times. That's what I want to say to BYU right now.
And I'm sure Kalani's factoring that in. I mean, this is not his first day on campus at BYU.
Do you get what I mean? He shouldn't have to factor things in. Like, it should just be at some point.
And I should also be 200 pounds with a 6-pack of abs, but I'm a fat ass. Things happen.
Well,
like there's a way that
That's
things
quite
go,
enough. We get it.
There's a way that things go down, dude.
Well, apparently at BYU, that's how it goes.
And but he knows the way the gears turn there. I think the frustration is that they don't have an agreement in principle.
You have a deal.
It's not that he needs a contract signed in front of him. I think Kalani wants a handshake, and I don't think he's. And this is just what I'm hearing, right? Like, I don't know this to be fact, but the guys I talked to at BYU have not been wrong.
Mm-hmm.
They've not been, and I will just go back and say, we've heard from day one about this Kalani contract extension thing or rework. It's not an extension. He just signed a new contract in August, but they're reworking. It's going to be an addendum, whatever the flip you want to call it.
Paperwork.
Yeah. They're working on it. We've heard that for 3.5, 4 weeks now. Like, if you go back to the Jaren Hall injury stuff, we told you shouldn't have played against Boise State.
Yet he still played.
And he still played. And everybody said he's not hurt. Well, it turns out he is hurt, right? So I think we've been pretty good on BYU, right? What I would tell you is, from what the people I talk to at BYU say, there is some disappointment that there's not been a handshake. Yeah, this is done. Now we got to get Jeannie and administration to type it up.
I want it.
That's what the frustration
Genie
is.
and administration.
Hey, Jeannie, can you put that on paper, please? Like, I mean, it just is what it is. And I think that's where the frustration is.
Yeah.
Because if they had a handshake deal, Kalani's not talking to Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, and there's palatable frustration there, but there's also a sense of urgency to get this done. And I think it gets done. I just think there's going to be I think some people are going to be gripping their Book of Mormon a little tighter down in Provo for a minute. I mean,
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that it's got to go that way. While talking about BYU, Mitchell has 7 more Euro step buckets on the Wolves.
I know, dude. I know.
That's funny.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Wow. Teddy Wayman says, "Sup, fellas."
What's up, buddy?
Nice. Bradlark says, "By the way, Jake, put the glasses back on. Luca's mom is hot. And do you guys even watch Jazz games? There, it's all out now."